Street Fighter 6 has undoubtedly been a great success for Capcom and the fighting game community alike, receiving high praise from everyone including journalists, casuals and hardcore players too. It sold very well, set record numbers at offline tournaments, and is even up for multiple nominations at the Game Awards next month. But now coming up to the 6-month mark since release, are the lifeblood of SF6, and of course I'm talking about the player base, perhaps falling out of love with the game. Also guys, please note this video is not a criticism. I personally enjoy the game and it's one of my favourite Street Fighters, so please keep that in mind before you grab your pitchforks and come for me in the comment section. What is wrong with Street Fighter 6? Number 1. Polarizing mechanics. With a new fighting game comes new mechanics, and of course SF6 is no different. This happens with every Street Fighter game by the way, I am not surprised it's happening with this one too. Naturally, this caused a lot of heated discussion among the community, even as far back as the betas, and how these new mechanics might affect the balance of the game. Originally, drive impact was the main offender, with the community questioning how this powerful mechanic could only cost one drive gauge, considering the reward it yields even on block. Of course, this was because the game wasn't even out yet and nobody was dealing with it accordingly. But it's interesting to look back at this take since drive impact is actually rarely seen in high level play, unless it's guaranteed because of the risk involved. This discourse eventually moved over to drive rush and even drive parry, with players questioning the balance of these mechanics and how easily abused they can potentially be.
Dragon matches thus far have been perfect parry.
With the game not even being out for 6 months yet, it's most likely this is just early game adjustments for many players and not a problem with the game itself. Number 2. Inputs. Fighting games in recent years are a lot easier to play in terms of execution for a number of reasons, the most obvious being that it feels more accessible to more people of all experience levels. An issue Street Fighter 6 players are raising time and time again since release has been the way the game stores inputs, and how certain mechanics can affect the way the game reads them. The way Street Fighter 6 stores inputs appears to be extremely lenient. So lenient in fact that players are reporting and showing examples of situations where they got specials and even supers where they didn't want them. This has happened to me before as well, so I can confirm it can be pretty frustrating when you're in neutral playing footsies for example. Didn't do that! This isn't the only complaint from the community, as the screen freeze during drive rush has also been causing players problems. In short, if you input something during the screen freeze of drive rush, the game has a chance it won't fully recognise this. This can interfere with directional inputs and buttons as well. And during a fast paced game of Street Fighter, not getting something you wanted or getting something you didn't want can be the difference between winning and losing. Capcom actually addressed this with an earlier patch, which makes the likelihood of it happening a lot less, but it looks like this may not be the easy fix we thought, as the problem still exists now, albeit much less often. This might actually be very difficult to change without drastically affecting the core game design, as if the screen freeze was removed, drive rush would be way too strong, as seen in this edited example.
No! God, please, no! No!
They could also change the way the game reads inputs during the screen freeze, but again, we don't know how that could affect the design and balance of the game. This could also have been how they intended it to be, but I'm sure over time we will see if they try to address this further than they already have. Number 3. Online cheating. SF6 has one of the best online experiences in fighting game history, but that isn't accounting for the players with zero integrity. Of course, I'm talking about those who are cheating their way to victory online using undetectable scripts and AI to get an unfair advantage over their opponents. Reacting to every DI, perfect parrying everything, impossible punishes, immediate blocking and throw teching are all possible with these cheats, and it's been documented in recent weeks in videos posted online. This is obviously banned in the Capcom Pro Tour Code of Conduct, but policing and proving this over the internet is easier said than done. Using this to climb the ranked leaderboards is bad enough, but there have been reports of this being used in tournament as well. With prize pools increasing and online tournaments extremely common these days, this could be an ongoing issue if Capcom isn't careful. Number 4. Bugs. Every first version of a fighting game comes out with no issues or bugs, right? Hahaha. Yeah, but seriously, some pretty crazy bugs have been discovered in Street Fighter 6 since launch. Capcom has already done a good job of patching out bugs in SF6, with the install recovery glitch and Rashid level 2 tornado glitch both being patched out pretty quickly. The last one was pretty funny though, I'm not gonna lie.
What issue?
However, there are two more that have been discovered recently. The first is a glitch which allows players to use OD moves which usually cost 2 drive gauges with less than 2 stocks available and prevent going into burnout. This is triggered by a disjointed move such as a projectile connecting with the opponent and on the same frame using an OD move. At first this sounds way too specific to use in a real match, but of course players are figuring out real sequences and setups for this already. There's also this bug with Jamie where he can repeatedly command grab and stun the opponent given the correct circumstances. This is almost to be expected with any vanilla launch of a fighting game, as the devs and QA can't account for all the crazy situations that the players find in the game once it's available to the wider public. At the time of recording, I also couldn't find anything in the Capcom Pro Tour rule set about banning or dissuading bugs or glitches, which is pretty crazy considering they could potentially be used in an official Pro Tour scenario. And speaking of which, number 5, unfair Pro Tour format. One of the best aspects of playing any fighting game is the head-to-head in-person experience. That's always been one of the attraction of any game's World Tour, providing hype moments and a reason for the pros and upcomers to travel and hone their craft on the road to the Capcom Cup at the end of the season.
Incredible run.
This year being the biggest in history with a total prize pool of $2 million. Unfortunately, the first season of the Capcom Pro Tour on SF6 moves away from that, hosting only 3 open offline events for the entire tour. These are premier events, providing the winner with direct qualification to the Cup, being held in Los Angeles in February. The 3 events were held in Las Vegas at EVO, Singapore and France. Of course, this isn't the only way to qualify for the finals, as there are also 18 spots available through online premieres and another 26 available through the World Warrior program. More events is great, but the problem here is that players who travel and place consistently aren't rewarded for their efforts with a spot, while the same result can be achieved from staying at home and playing online. Mena RD is the perfect example here, a 2-time Capcom Cup champion and regarded by many as the best in the world, who took 2nd twice and 4th place at the 3 premier events, is no closer to qualifying for the finals as he was at the start of the season. This is making the community think that perhaps a point system would be a more fair and better format, as seen in earlier years of the Pro Tour circuit. I do have to say though, kudos to Capcom, the World Warrior series is a great example of a point system that rewards consistency, and I feel like it's one of the best additions to the Pro Tour Capcom has ever done, allowing many regions and players to participate who perhaps didn't have offline events or the means to travel to them in the past.
Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm looking to upload more content like this on the regular, so please don't forget to subscribe if you didn't already, or you can check out my Twitch channel for daily gameplay content. Also, please comment new costumes when, so I know you watched this video all the way to the end. Where are those costumes in SF6? I feel like they announced them ages ago.